Well, we got beautiful weather today. The road is sealed, so it's time to see what's behind door number 2. So the reason this video is a little delayed is because where I live, they like to take the tar and feather approach to paving the road. So this is some of the remnants of what was all over the road. Now it's sealed with some tar so we can go out for a ride. So today we're going to be reviewing my 1995 Ferrari F355 Berlinetta. I bought this in early March, late February, somewhere in there this year. And so this is a new car for me, first season driving it, but it's been a great car so far. And I bought this because it's quintessential Ferrari for me. This was the hot car when I was growing up, and I remember seeing it in movies like Fast and Furious and The Rock. You know, those were some of the famous sightings of it. Anyways, so this is in Rosa Corsa red paint, and it's got the crema interior, which is the beige kind of saddle looking color, and that is quintessential Ferrari to me. So we'll do a quick walk around of the car and then start it up and go for a ride. One of the things that I really like about this car is that there are no visible door handles. You actually have to stick your hand up under here and open it that way. The other nice thing is that the floors are pretty flat, so there's not a whole lot to step over to get inside the car. Of course, I got the manual transmission, which we'll talk about that more later. Let's take a look at the engine. Back here you have a 3.5 liter 8-cylinder engine. Now the 355 moniker or name comes from having 3.5 liters of engine, and each cylinder has 5 valves, so 3.5 and then 5 valves per cylinder. One of the unique things about the 95 is that we have a air intake for each bank of 4 cylinders, and each one has its own mass air flow sensor, as you can see there. In later models, they got rid of one of those, and they basically just fed the 2 pipes together before they went to their respective banks, and that costs about 10 horsepower. So that's one of the reasons I liked the 355, or sorry, the 1995 better. Alright, here we go in the 355, out for a little drive on a sunny day. One of the first things you'll notice when you get in this car is the seats. They're awesome. They feel really comfortable. They support you exactly where you want to be supported. Ferrari did that seat design right. They're so comfortable you can take this on 100, 200, 300, 400 mile drives and feel comfortable the whole way. It's a very easy car to drive. I contest that you could drive this car every day if you really wanted to. I've driven this in the rain. It performed fabulously. You just can't get on it in the corners and that kind of thing, but it is a lot of fun to drive. And then you get that beautifully sounding 8-cylinder, 5 valve per cylinder engine. It's just a symphony. That's what does it for me. transmission is just beautiful. Having that mechanical sound when you shift gears on this beautifully crafted gated shifter, it's just incredible. Now, I know some of you will say, yeah, but the paddle shifting is faster. Oh, okay, maybe. But I think you miss out on the experience of driving a 3-pedal, 6-speed car. It's kind of like parents that have one child. There's just too much stuff that you miss out on. There's no fighting, there's no pulling hair, there's no blaming each other for whatever they got in trouble for. You need to have a 3-pedal car to have the right experience in one of these cars. One of the things my wife likes about this car is that it's very easy to get in and out of. It's not like the Lotus where you have a very high sill and a very short roof line. And this, the floors are almost flat. You've got a good amount of space to get in and out, and it's really quite simple. It's also just a pleasure to drive. It corners well. It accelerates well. The power to weight ratio on this is actually a little bit better than my Lotus. So on the Lotus, each horsepower is hauling about 9.5 pounds, and this it's about 8 pounds or somewhere thereabouts. That's just an approximate. But at higher speed, once you get over 100 miles an hour, you feel like this car has a lot more to give. There's a lot more power to get you up to those higher speeds, whereas in the Lotus you feel like it accelerates really fast and you got a lot of torque right off the line, but once you start getting into the higher speeds you can feel that it doesn't have a whole lot more to give you. It's just a completely different experience. And this car is also a little on the hefty side compared to the other cars that I have. The other cars are in the 2,000 poundish range. This is more like 3,000 pounds. It's about 50% bigger or heavier than the others. It's not really a whole lot bigger. The dimensions of the car compared to today's cars is actually pretty small. When you park to another car, park next to another car, it looks smallish. It fits in the same garage space as the Lotus did. Now it is a bit longer, but not so much that it causes any problems in terms of storage space. Now, this car does get a lot of attention, and so does the Lotus, but we'll talk about that in a different video. And my experience in this is it's been both good and bad. You get hecklers that just don't like anybody that drives a Ferrari, and whatever, that's their opinion. But you also do get a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of people are just genuinely interested in knowing more about the car. Brand new, it cost about $130,000. And if you look at the guys that have these for sales, or gals that have these for sale, the super low mileage museum quality type cars, they're going to be back up in that range. I don't know if they're actually going to sell the car for that, because that's a lot of money for a 20-year-old Ferrari, but maybe, you don't know. the cars have been increasing in value. You know, a few years ago you could easily find these in the 50s and 60s. It's getting more difficult to find them in that price range now. The higher mileage ones you can usually find in the 60s at least, but anymore, you know, you're seeing a lot more 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I'm basing, you know, adding this in to the regular guy exotics on the price that I paid for it, which is more in that, you know, 50, 60 range. The newer prices, or the asking prices now, it's starting to get, you know, outside the range that, at least in my opinion, that a lot of regular folks could afford. But, you know, if you think about it, a decked out Honda Odyssey can get up in that range, you know, maybe not 60, but, you know, certainly in the 40s. And so, I mean, you pay a little bit more and you have a really awesome sounding Ferrari, beautifully driving Ferrari, beautifully looking Ferrari. Steering on this car, it has power steering, and you know, with my other sports cars, they don't have power steering, and so I don't know if it's a product of that or just that, you know, it's a little too much for me. The steering is a bit light. You know, I can steer this car, as you can see, with one finger pretty easily, and I'm not a fan of that. I mean, it's very responsive. You get pretty good feedback through the steering wheel. It's just not as direct connection as I'm used to with, like, the Lotus, for example. It's a minor gripe. It doesn't bother me that much. It's still a hoot to drive around. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and there'll be more to come. So, ta-ta for now.